Hey everybody, Teresa here from Inspiration Cards, and I'm back with our third card for this month's Stamp Jammies online card class featuring the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. I hope you've been enjoying the cards so far, and next week I'll be back with our last card for this month. And don't worry, if you missed out on signing up for the full class kit for the Friends Are Like Seashells class, which would include the stamp set, one ink pad, and some coordinating designer series paper, don't worry. You can still send me an email at inspirationwiththeresa@gmail.com and just let me know that you want the card supplies for the Stamp Jammies Friends Are Like Seashells card class, and I'd be happy to send that to you. And that includes shipping for anywhere in Canada, and it's only $25. If you're outside of Canada, I'm totally fine just adding a little extra for that extra mailing to send it to you as well. All right, let's get started with this week's card. So here's our third card for this month's Stamp Jammies online card class featuring the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. So this one is a combination of Petal Pink and Crumb Cake, and this would be a great card for just about any occasion, just with the simple phrase of wishing you the very best. It could be for a birthday, it could be for a summer wedding, or even, you know, if a colleague is retiring or something like that. It's a really great all occasion card. So what you're going to need for this card is the package with, there's a lot of pieces in this package. So we've got one large piece of Petal Pink. You'll also have 3 smaller strips of Petal Pink as well. And you'll also have 1 piece of Crumb Cake, 2 pieces of Basic White. One's going to be a little bit smaller than the other. And then you'll also have 3 larger strips and 1 smaller strip. Okay? All right. Now, as always, if you've been doing my classes, you know I always like to start off with folding my card base in half. I'm going to get that just a nice crisp fold with my bone folder. All right. So now that's done and out of the way. You're going to grab the larger of the 2 pieces of Basic White. I'm just going to flip mine over here. All right, and what's going to go, this one here is going to be on the inside. And I do have a couple of favorites from this stamp set, especially when I'm using my Crumb Cake. And one is this one here. It's the Starfish. I also love using the Sand Dollar image as well. So whatever you want to put on the inside, I like to stamp a little something on the inside so that way it brings the colors, the theme, whatever from the outside to the inside of the card, but still leaves plenty of room for a phrase or note or whatever you want to put on the inside. So that's just going to go down in the bottom right hand corner. There we go. And I'm going to set that aside to dry. And with the larger piece, the other piece of Basic White, you're going to grab some of the larger stamps in this stamp set. So it's going to be a bit of like a seashell kind of designer series paper. So you'll want these bunch here. And so I'm just going to use a combination of these 3. Well, I think these 2 actually. We do the large spiral shell and then this guy here. And then if there's still some space, then we'll take it from there. But there we go. So I'm just going to press that onto my block just like that. And then from here, just gently tap that stamp set onto your ink pad or vice versa. We go, and this is going to go kind of randomly on your cardstock. And I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to put this one a little closer to the edge here. There we go. And I'm just going to give that a quick clean so I can make room for our other seashell. There we go. There we go. And this one works out nicely because now you can do a nice little stretch right up the middle in between those two spirally seashells. I wish I knew the names of them, but no such luck. There we go. And we're going to do one more. And this is going to go across this way like this. There we go. And I do have a little bit of a space there. So I'm just going to take the end and fill that in like that. All right, so there is our kind of seashell background. All right, so next up are the 3 larger strips of basic white. And what you're going to do with these 3 strips is you're going to place them so they're right up against each other. So just like that. There we go. All right, and from here, I'm going to start with my other favorite image, the sand dollar. So this one's going to be a combination of crumb cake and some petal pink, but I always like to start with my larger images, because then if there's any gaps, it's easier to fit those smaller images in afterwards. All right, so I'm just going to hold my 3 strips in place as best I can. There we go. And I'm going to do kind of like almost like a diagonal down the 3 strips. Oops. There we go. And just down in this bottom corner, just like that. There we go. Okay, and that is it for our crumb cake. So now I'm going to pull in our petal pink. There we go. And I'm going to use some of the smaller seashells on this one. I'm going to start off with the larger of the 2. I guess you could kind of call these clamshells. There we go. And again, just going to gently tap my stamp onto the ink pad. Go. There we go. And just kind of start to fill in some of those gaps. And just make sure every once in a while you give that seashell a rotate. Let's give it a little twirl. And we'll do one more down here. And we'll have this guy's butt sticking up in the air for us. There we go. And now you're going to want the smaller of the 2 clamshells. Here you go. So this has got some nice kind of filled in, some shade and some dimension. So this one I like, because I still get that petal pink, but you get more of the outline of it. So a little bit different. And this little guy's going to fill in this hole right there. gonna sneak in just a little teeny bit up here. Just a little more color up there. All right, so there we go. Oops, and actually before I put that away, let's stamp our phrase on that last strip of Whisper White. And so I'm gonna stick with the wishing you the very best. You could also go with the I'm so happy I found you. And actually I'm gonna do that. Let me switch this up. Just gonna make sure that's nice and straight. Just want it to curve a little bit on me. There we go, that's okay. I think that's about as straight as I'm gonna get it. There we go. And so now this is like an anniversary card. There we go. Not quite as centered as I would like that. So let's flip that over. The nice thing about cardstock is you always got two sides. All right, let's line that up a little better. There we go. That's what I'm getting. All right, so while that dries, let's just pull in our other pieces and we can start sticking them together. All right, so we've got our petal pink card base, of course, and here's that first piece of basic white. I'm just gonna use some Stampin' Seal on the back here. Whatever your favorite go-to adhesive is. There we go. And on the outside, we're going to start with our piece of crumb cake. There we go. All right, and then we need our seashell background. All right, and this is going to be a bit of a smaller border than around our crumb cake. All right, so there we go. So before we stick these guys onto our card front, we need to actually finish our panels. All right, and so I want to make sure I actually keep these lined up in order. There we go. All right, so you could, if you wanted to mix them up. I actually kind of like the idea of just having one image spaced apart. There we go. Now, one other way you could do that is if you kept the square or rectangle in one piece, and then you cut it into pieces after you've stamped. Go. That's another way to get the same effect. Here we go. And this is going to have kind of a similar edge to our crumb cake border. So just that nice little bit, 1/8 of an inch as opposed to a full 1/4 of an inch. All right, now these are going to get popped on with some dimensionals. Let's just flip those guys over. Now you might be able to get away with 2. I'm going to stick on 3 just to be on the safe side. All right, and I'm going to start, actually, here we go. Let's start by lining these guys up here. There we go. So before I pull off the papers, just get them lined up evenly so you get that nice even spacing around each of the pieces. So there we go. So I'm going to start with the guy with our middle piece here. There we go. Just peel those off. All right, and I'm just going to line this guy up with my other pieces. There we go. And now putting the other pieces into place will be much easier. Oops. There we go. And one more. Go. All right, and making sure, yep, I've got those panels lined up properly. There's our spacing. There we go. And then of course we need our phrase. And this is just going to go on with a little bit of Stamp and Seal. And so I'm just going to kind of strategically place my Stamp and Seal. So you want a little bit towards one end. And then not quite the middle, but not quite the edge. There we go. And then to top it off, this is why I was getting a little picky with my placement, but that's okay, is I want to just add a couple of the opal rounds on either side of my phrase. Now you could also, if you wanted, add some Wink of Stella to some of your seashells to add a little bit of bling. There we go. And to show that off, so in the other card I'm going to show you guys this week, I have used some Wink of Stella on the seashells. So this one is actually using Smoky Slate and Mint Macaroon as my 2 colors. And so what I've done is I just used some of the stamped images that you would use to kind of color in the seashells. And I just used that to create a background. I also used a little bit of the seaweed. And then I stamped these 3 on a separate piece of Very Vanilla, because that's what I used on this one, some Very Vanilla. And then I just did a quick fussy cut. The seashells are pretty easy to actually just cut out yourself. And then once I popped those up on some dimensionals, I put on a few layers of Wink of Stella. I really wanted these guys to shimmer. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you liked this week's cards. And if you did, make sure to like and share this video with your friends. Now I'll be back next week, as I said, with our last card for this month's Stampin' Jammies online card class. And then I'm going to be taking a break for the summer, but I will be back in September to do a Stampin' Jammies online card class featuring the Quiet Meadow stamp set. Super excited to share this with you guys. And you have until August 12th to sign up for the full class kit. And again, the full class card kit includes the Quiet Meadow stamp set, 1 ink pad, and some coordinating designer series paper. In the meantime, you can send any questions to me at inspirationwiththeresa@gmail.com, and you can check out my other projects on my Facebook page, Inspiration Cards, or my blog at inspirationcards.com. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon.